Please welcome Dr. Errol Veerasinghe to address all of you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a pleasure to stand before you today. As the compeer said, I too had my background many years ago in a very poor surrounding. I was a welder, I was a blacksmith, and I was a foundryman. But I reached the heights because I believed in myself. What I'm going to tell you today is different. I'm going to give you a different perspective. Some of you might not like it. Some might disagree with me. But I hope you will take some comfort that this is being done because I care for you. I want you to be different. When I just graduated as a young man, I was valedictorian, and the dean called me and said, Veerasinghe, you just wore your engineering pants. Now learn to walk. I still remember that day when he said that, because I had this great notion that, boy, I got my first degree. I'm big. Somebody's going to give me a job. Ladies and gentlemen, nobody has any obligation to give you a job. You have to create your own future. I use the word create. It's synonymous with creativity. But that's got a problem, unfortunately, in today's education field. Just think of a 3-year-old guy called Johnny. Johnny is so naughty. Mommy says, Johnny, can't you be like your sister? Can't you behave yourself? So poor Johnny conforms. He goes to preschool and the teacher says, Johnny, why are you like this? Why can't you be like the other kids? Behave yourself. So Johnny conforms. He comes to schools like this. He's told again, please, we have procedures, conform. He gets a job and the HR director says the same old thing. We have procedures, policies, principles, practices, please conform. So poor Johnny is a conformist. And then hits COVID-19. Everything has gone berserk. The CEO stands up and says, hey guys, let's be creative. What? You just killed every element of creativity I had because you made me conform. I don't want you to conform, because those who conform actually stay behind. In Sri Lanka, unfortunately, we have a problem of being forced to conform because we're very concerned about what the next guy thinks of us. So we conform. But that's okay. I am not going to fight that system. But as far as you are concerned, I want to remind you, two of the most valuable resources, ladies and gentlemen, you have is your time and your money. You see, you have 24 hours of the day, you sleep a lot, and then your school wants your time, your temple or church wants your time, your friends want your time, your job wants your time, the cricket matches want your time. Christ, everybody wants your time, but yet this is the only limited thing you have. So take control of it, don't just give it away. Be quite decisive and discerning in who you give your time to and what you give it for. Today I came here knowing my time is valuable too, because I care for you to make a difference. Now when it comes to money, rule number 1, and please remember this one statement: borrow to invest, but never borrow to spend and entertain yourself. I'm going to repeat that. Borrow by all means to invest in a business and get started or for your education. But don't borrow, don't live on a credit card. Now for those who are married, I congratulate you on your decision to get married, but I often ask young people who got married, how about that massive wedding you had, the fortune you spent? You know, it's funny that banks in Sri Lanka gives you a 20-year wedding loan. I couldn't believe this is possible. But they also give you a 20-year home loan to buy your home. But the question is, are you going to take that loan and blow it in one night, or are you going to invest in your first apartment or your first house? Be very careful. Don't fall into the rut of getting into debt so you can have some fun. Now let me talk to you about something called obsolescence. What is so true today is, whatever you have learned today is obsolete tomorrow. So when I teach as an academic, one of my main focuses is to teach you how to learn yourself, because I won't be around to teach you anymore. So learn to learn. This is the secret to your success. Many companies who didn't want to change went bankrupt. I can give you an entire list. But I want to remind you of one company, one industry that is very interesting. That is the car you drive or the lorry you see every day. This is called the internal combustion engine or ICE vehicles. Last year, Norway said after 2025, they will not allow a single ICE vehicle in their country. The technology train, loaded with globalization, is moving ahead. You either get on it or get to a side because it will run you over. No industry, no technology, no product, no service, not even an individual is immune from becoming irrelevant. If you don't continue to learn, if you think today is it, you're also going to be irrelevant. So continue to learn. Remember the learning culture, not the title culture. Unfortunately, all of you rush. We all want 3 letters next to our name. That's great. But along with it must come the learning, the education. But I want to urge you to follow your passion. Now be very careful with that statement. Because what your passion is today is not going to be tomorrow. It will evolve. After nearly 30 years as a research scientist and an academic, I changed my career 22 years ago and became a management consultant. I did crazy things. I was never afraid. I have 2 kids and they are partners. None of them work in the area of their first degree. This is a training degree. It doesn't matter what you do. Don't be afraid to change. Take the step. Because when you wake up every morning, you must love what you do. And if you love what you do, you will be successful. Now, I'm going to give you 2 tips. The number 1 is, if you get an email from somebody you know, please respond. Don't hide behind that email. Otherwise, you'll get 5 more emails bothering you. Just have the courage to say, no, I'm not interested. If somebody calls you and it's a person you know, don't hide behind that phone call. Send a text message saying, got your call, thanks a lot. At this time, I have no interest or I'm too busy. I'll reach out to you. But respond. And the number 2, when you go for an interview, follow exactly what I say. When you sit for the interview, you just ask the person on the other side interviewing you, say, sir, madam, before we start, may I ask you a question? And the person says, sure, why not? You say, you could have invited 100 people for this job. What is it about my CV that made you invite me? When you ask that question, something extraordinary happens. That person cannot remember and he's going to go through or she's going to go through your CV and look for good points about you. What have you done? You have primed their mind. Once you prime them to start thinking good about you, thinking high about you, you're already in there. And also for those who think the majority is right, be careful. We have team meetings. Why? We think the majority opinion is right. We have elections, democratic elections. Why? We think the majority is right. They are right for normal things. And what do I mean by normal things? Take, for example, a bank. A bank simply waits till you come to them and give your money to them. So they say, thank you very much. They turn around and give your money to somebody else and they make money out of it. That's being standard. That's being normal. That's banking. If you go to a restaurant, what happens? You go in, look at the menu, place an order, the food comes in, you eat it, you pay. That's the normal way of doing things. The sad story is, if you do things that are normal and standard, you are going to get normal results. But if you want to be extraordinary, you have to accept that the majority is wrong. And you might say, what? Well, let me tell you something. If a man who builds furniture says, I don't want to assemble furniture anymore, you might say, but how are you going to do it? Well, because of that one statement, IKEA, the largest home furnishing company, was born. Or if you're a computer manufacturer and you say, I'm not going to sell computers in a store anymore, you might say, but you can't do that. No, I can. I am Dell Computers. I don't sell computers in my store. So you can see that we are confined and constrained. For example, if I ask you, how about dinner tonight? What shall we do? Somebody would say, well, let's order some pizza. Others might say, let's go to a restaurant. Some might even say, let's cook something at home. These are all cool ideas. But how many of you would say, hey, let's go to the highway and look for a dead animal and make a crispy barbecue? Disturbing thought. But guess what? In many countries, that's quite normal. See, what I'm trying to tell you is that when we confine ourselves to all these norms, we can't get out of this box, even though everybody says, think out of the box, think out of the box. No. In fact, when GM, Ford, Toyota, Honda were making cars to make you feel better, how you can drive well, all of that, Elon Musk of Tesla said, hey, instead of the human driving the car, why shouldn't the car drive the human? That gave birth to autonomous driving. Ladies and gentlemen, mark my word as I close out. In 3 to 5 years, you will see the first car that does not have a steering wheel. There's an old phrase which says, when young, you spend your health to make your wealth. And when old, you spend your wealth to recover your health, but it's too late. I, at my age of 76, still deliver 8-hour workshops. 8 all hours I teach. Why? Because I take care of my health. I want all of you to pay attention to your health as well. Congratulations to all of you, and thank you very much for listening. God bless you all.